Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Respawn Media. A couple episodes ago, I teased the future as to what's to come here on the channel, and we got it here for you now. One of my good friends, Diego, is here, and he is going to be giving you his review on Loki. And from now on in the future, Diego will be featured on this channel regularly, and he'll be bringing you guys movie news, his reviews on TV shows and movies as well. So I'm really excited to expand this channel a bit, and I hope you guys enjoy everything that's to come. Enjoy.
Hello, welcome to Respawn Media. I'm Diego Pizarro. You might not recognize me. I'm new to Respawn Media, and I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on your favorite movies and TV shows. And to get things started, I thought I would just give a quick summary of my thoughts on the brand new Marvel TV show on Disney Plus, Loki. Just going to say from the get-go, definitely going to reveal some stuff here. So if you don't want any spoilers, watch another video, and if you don't care, hey, then watch it, get a kick out of my opinion. I don't know. But so this is Marvel's third show, Loki. This follows WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, I have a complicated relationship with Marvel. I enjoy a good amount of the MCU movies, Guardians of the Galaxy, Winter Soldier, Civil War, Endgame, Infinity War, all-time classics, right? But Marvel does tend to get a little repetitive and stale for me. And, I just get tired of them from the oversaturation. I'm sure a lot of you out there can relate. But, Marvel, we love them. They're a cultural cornerstone. And when I found out these TV shows were coming out, I was skeptical as always because yet another Marvel product. Here we go. But WandaVision blew me away, completely surpassed my expectations. Didn't quite stick the landing, but overall was an enjoyable show. Falcon and the Winter Soldier just felt like more of the same when it comes to Marvel. So I wasn't too into that personally. I know some people enjoyed it. That's great. Definitely not a bad show. Just it's not what I really want at this point out of Marvel anymore. I feel like I've been there, done that. I've seen it. It just kind of felt like an extension of a Marvel movie. But Loki, this is taking it to a whole different place. And that's what I'll give these Disney Plus shows is they have their own identity. They feel like their own thing. Like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, yes, feels like a Marvel movie, but I'm just talking about the shows themselves. They're all very, very different from each other. So that's cool. So Loki, basically the premise is that after he steals the Tesseract during the events of Endgame, he's basically creates an alternate timeline, escaping the Avengers, and is captured by the Time Variance Authority, better known as the TVA, an organization that basically they exist outside the rules of time and space, and they monitor the timeline to make sure that it doesn't get out of control and things happen as they are supposed to happen. So basically they give Loki a choice. You can either be erased off the timeline, which in the show is referred to as pruning, or you can help us find another Loki that has been killing members of the TVA. And it is later revealed that this Loki is a woman that goes by the name of Sylvie, and all kinds of great stuff ensues. Overall, I enjoyed the show a lot. It had a really cool feel, very unique feel, was very different. It's a time travel story, so lots of layers, lots of plot holes as well, but almost unavoidable when you're doing time travel things. So I'll give them a pass on that. And it was so hard to keep track of. And, I'm trying to condense this as much as I can. That's kind of why I'm just giving my thoughts, because trying to review the whole show, there's just so much stuff going on. It's unbelievable. But as far as what I liked, I got to say right off the bat, the set design on this show is incredible. The TVA headquarters looks like something straight out of a 70s sci-fi movie, but also gives off this dystopian vibe. But what I will say about the show is they really lull you into like a real false sense of security with the TVA, and that they're the good guys, and you're taught to distrust Loki because he's Loki. He's the god of mischief. That's what your brain is trained to think. And they really lull you into a false sense of security until later on the show when you find out they are not what they seem. But the place it looked great. It was real immersive. And I find a lot of sets in movies now look really bare. I didn't find that the case with this one. I felt it had its own character, its own identity. And in fact, all the sets had a really identifiable character that made them stand out, in my opinion. And I got to say, the themes explored with Loki in the early episodes is really cool. I mean, they may have dragged a bit, but I still kind of enjoyed them. You get to see him wrestle with both sides of himself, and he wants to be a different person, but he's used to being the villain. He's used to being the bad guy, the god of mischief. And they try to explore deeper why he does that and why he feels the need to do that, and that's all very cool. And mostly, I just like those scenes because you get to see Mobius and Loki together. And Mobius is basically he's a TVA investigator, and he's the person whose idea it is to recruit Loki to find Loki, because who better to find Loki than Loki? And him and Loki together are just great. Owen Wilson absolutely kills it. I didn't realize it was Owen Wilson until really far into the episode, which I'm not proud to admit. But they just absolutely kill it together. And watching them bounce off each other is really great. Really great dynamic. And you can see this kind of happening in certain areas of Hollywood. You're starting to see these almost, for lack of a better term, like buddy cop style partnerships come back. I mean, you can look at Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And you can kind of see this with Loki and Mobius. Maybe not to the same level, but I haven't had as much time with these characters. You know, maybe as I rewatch some of these episodes over and over again, I'll buy it even more, but just great. He was a highlight for sure as a character. And probably my favorite episode of the show would be the second episode where they go to the hurricane in Alabama in 2050. So basically they figure out that this other Loki is hiding in apocalypses, and that's how they can't be tracked, because apocalypse, everybody dies, and there's no further timeline being created with those people, which that's a little flimsy. I mean, the area is still there, so that counts for something. Time still moves, but whatever. They hide in the she hides in apocalypses, and there's a scene where this Loki, who is really looking stronger than the Loki we know, is taking control of people through enchantment. And she's battling Loki in this supermarket where all the people are hiding to save themselves from the hurricane. And she's going from person to person, and you're like, what the hell is going on? And Loki can't figure out who it is. And it's in that episode where you first start to question the TVA, because Loki begins to question the TVA, because when Sylvie reveals herself, she begins to put in his head that the TVA is not what they seem. So that was a really, really great episode. The show after that, I found it kind of dragged a bit. I wasn't too into these scenes on. I wasn't too crazy about the scenes on Lamentus 1 in 2077 on the moon that was being crushed by the planet, as you're familiar with if you watch the show. The scenes on the train dragged a bit for me and just was a little bit too dialogue heavy. And I didn't feel it really had the character and wasn't as funny as it was with Mobius. But I got to say, Sylvie is still a cool character and has a lot more time to prove herself, but she's an incredible fighter, does some pretty insane stuff in the show. So I got no problems with her. I kind of wish I think her personality could be a little bit more developed, but I mean, we'll see as the show goes on. I think you'll definitely see her grow when season 2 shows up. But overall, I really enjoyed the show. My only problems with is I felt the show was a little slow and could have been cut down, but it was only 6 episodes. So kind of seems like a silly complaint. And also I get that the Loki that we know is supposed to kind of just be the passenger on this trip and is not really supposed to be the main guy. But, they kind of go overboard with driving the point home. Like, this is a new person and he's a buffoon and they have to make him look like a fool and have to make him look very weak. And I get to do that to an extent. But by the end of the show, it was just like, you have to tear him down so much just to build up another character. You could do a Mobius and Loki thing and they can just have a great dynamic, and she can come out on top sometimes and he can come out on top sometimes. That may sound silly, but I don't know. I'd kind of like to see less. It just feels like they're really trying to push the point home. Like, forget this guy. We got this new person here. Just focus on them. But overall, I was happy with the show. It's great to see Marvel trying to do different things with these shows. I mean, as TV these days just seems like the more creative medium. And it was just really cool to see them try something different. And even the ending when You know, he shows up back at the TVA headquarters, but realizes it's in a different timeline and nobody knows who he is. That was such a great throwback to like 70s sci-fi, which always ends kind of negative or foreboding, or you know, you don't know what's going to happen. So overall, really pleased with the show. Really happy to see Marvel is still taking risks. Overall, really pleased with the show. Glad to see Marvel taking risks and trying different things in the TV medium when you really have time to flesh it out. Um, I mean, if the show stays long-winded, so be it. I do think that it could be paced a little faster, but other than that, don't have a ton of complaints. You should definitely check out Loki. Be sure to let me know what you thought of Loki in the comments below, and thank you very much for watching Respawn Media.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know I sure did. Coming up in a few days here on the channel, I'm going to be giving you my review and first impressions of both Red Dead Online's Blood Money update and GTA Online's Tuner update. Are the updates any good and which one is better? I'm going to be talking about it right here on the channel, so stay tuned for that in a few short days.